UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov continues to show why he is not just a champion in the octagon, but also a role model in the MMA community. He was seen consoling and supporting a devastated, beaten fighter at the Bellator Rizin crossover event. What did fans have to say about this? This video will also talk about the behind-the-scenes action at the Bellator Rizin crossover in Japan. Keep watching for more information. Starting us off, UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov was praised for supporting a devastated, beaten fighter. Fans have commended Khabib Nurmagomedov for comforting Koji Takeda after Takeda lost his battle on New Year's Eve. At the cross-promotional event between Bellator and Rizin last weekend at the Saitama Super Arena in Japan, Takeda faced off against the Russian fighter Gadzi Rabadanov. The card's opening bout featured Takeda versus Rabadanov, who was defeated by a unanimous decision. Nurmagomedov showed class by supporting Takeda by entering the ring after the fight. The legendary UFC fighter Nurmagomedov was seen giving Takeda a tearful pat on the back and shaking his hand before lifting his arm in the air. Since then, viewers have commented on the clip. One person said, "That's why he's different from other people." Another commentator added that moral support is more important than actual victory. He noted that Khabib was the finest. According to a third commenter, Nurmagomedov's parents did an excellent job of parenting him. He continued by saying that Khabib will continue to be the finest fighter and simply a man of the highest caliber. In March of 2021, the former lightweight UFC champion announced his retirement from competition. Since then, he has started his MMA organization, Eagle FC. In addition to instructing athletes at his American Kickboxing Academy gym in California, Nurmagomedov has already begun to teach his fighting skills to the next generation by coaching his 5-year-old son in wrestling. Nurmagomedov has previously said he would not want his children to follow in his footsteps as a UFC star. Nurmagomedov only resigned when his father passed away due to problems with COVID-19. Nurmagomedov claimed that many conflicts he had at the peak of his UFC stardom went unnoticed, such as the time in 2017 when he nearly died after a complicated weight reduction. Fans watching the Bellator vs. Rizin fights from the stands noted that Nurmagomedov gained weight when he stopped competing. Some have estimated his weight to be approximately 220 pounds, which would put him in the heavyweight division if he were still a UFC fighter. One commenter even suggested a rematch with Conor McGregor, who has also gained weight, saying that he is the same weight as Conor. Khabib vs. Conor at heavyweight, Nurmagomedov successfully defended his lightweight championship by submitting Conor McGregor in the 4th round of UFC 229 in October of 2018 in the most well-known match of his career. The event will be remembered for the post-fight violence that resulted in Nurmagomedov and McGregor being fined and banned. Next, behind the scenes of the ambitious Bellator Rizin crossover in Japan. After exiting an elevator, Manny Pacquiao entered a waiting room where MMA competitors were waiting to enter the ring, accompanied by family and security. Former UFC champion Quinton Rampage Jackson appeared at the boxing legend's right, kneeling to assist Bellator's AJ McKee as he dressed in a lavish, pricey samurai outfit for his debut. The finest featherweight fighter in the world, Patricio Pitbull Freire, was warming up next to Pacquiao's left alongside his brother, Patricky, in preparation for the night's co-main event, which would feature a champion vs. champion contest. On a neighboring television screen, MMA legend Khabib Nurmagomedov could be sitting in the first row. Rizin 40, which continued the nation's tradition of combat sports on holiday for the 22nd consecutive year, included eye-popping walkouts, a significant Pacquiao announcement, enemies needing to repair fences, and plenty of knockouts. It was the type of ambitious New Year's Eve combat sports event that featured a co-promotion between Japan's Rizin Fighting Federation and Bellator MMA of the US. With their fighters going 5-0 against their Japanese opponents, Bellator ultimately defeated Rizin. But it was beside the point. The famous arena, which hosted some of the biggest MMA fights in the 2000s, was packed with 23,661 spectators, demonstrating that the sport is still flourishing in Japan 15 years after the prestigious Pride FC organization was acquired by Zuffa, the parent company of the UFC, and soon shut down. The public address system broadcasted a spectacular main card opening ceremony featuring loud pyro and the Pride theme. The only genuine inconvenience would have been donning McKee's gear, a black armor that cost $100,000 and weighed 55 pounds. Around noon local time on Saturday, supporters began to enter the building as Japan's combat countdown to the new year began. There were 7 TVs at the Rizin production office, 6 connected to the major Japanese broadcast networks, and the 7th broadcasting the Rizin event in the upper right corner. This year, year, the Japanese streaming service Unext offered Rizin vs Bellator as a pay-per-view event. However, when Rizin was on the network TV in the past, producers would continually monitor what aired on other stations throughout the event and make bout order adjustments based on advertisements and lulls on competitor networks. According to Kashiwagi, Mike Mazzulli, the head of the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation in Connecticut, was getting ready to administer drug tests to the competitors downstairs, where the combatants' changing rooms were located. Jason Herzog, a well-known American MMA referee, was in the same room, talking about the efforts of the Japan MMA Officials Committee, a growing Japanese regulatory group. At 2 p.m., the undercard got underway, primarily highlighting Rizin's talent. MMA fighter and fitness model Yushi made one of the event's most memorable exits by dancing his way down the runway while donning a showy, sparkling silver coat and transparent frame spectacles, with ladies on each side decked out in cyberpunk gear and waving glow sticks. He went on to win a unanimous decision over Takuya Nakazawa. 7 consecutive KO/TKO finishes followed, with only 2 matches making it through the first round. A kids' break dancing performance inside the ring was part of the intermission at 4:32 in the afternoon. During that brief intermission, the Bellator team bus came, and the fighters boarded it to head to their respective locker rooms. At 4:42 p.m., Juan Archuleta, the former Bellator bantamweight champion, approached Herzog while waiting outside one of those rooms for a rules discussion. He was dressed in a green knit suit, no shirt, and a fedora-like hat. Herzog smirked that there were no rules. Of course, that was a joke, but compared to the MMA unified regulations upheld by the Association of Boxing Commissions and Combative Sports, also known as ABC in North America and other countries, the Rizin rule set is a little more flexible. Kicks and knees to opponents' heads on the ground are permitted in Japan. Fights decided by decision are scored as a whole rather than round by round. Royce Gracie, a pioneer of the UFC, and his Bellator fighter's son, Conry, arrived backstage from the arena at 4:57 p.m. Pacquiao arrived as a surprise visitor through the VIP entrance 5 minutes after Gracie and Conry departed to find some Starbucks. Rampage Jackson appeared 4 minutes later on a dolly, lugging a cardboard box. McKee's samurai gear was inside, which was too hefty to carry around, and Pacquiao returned to the ring in front of the spectators at 5:17 p.m., strolling down to the ring to Eye of the Tiger. Pacquiao and Sakakibara revealed that Pacquiao and Rizin had agreed to compete for the promotion in 2023. According to ESPN, it will most likely be an exhibition boxing bout, similar to the ones Floyd Mayweather did with Rizin. Finally, the main card of the Bellator Rizin crossover begins. Around 7 p.m., Nurmagomedov took his position in the front row, just before the Rizin vs Bellator main event began. A sleek multimedia presentation with the Pride theme music, laser lights, and some loud fireworks was part of the opening ceremony, which also included all 10 competing competitors in the ring, together with Sakakibara and Bellator CEO Scott Coker. In the Bellator locker room, McKee and Patricio Pitbull were getting ready side by side at 7:24 p.m. Patricio was with his brother, Patricky, while McKee was with his father. Due to the ferocious competition between the two factions, the scene was noteworthy. In 2021, McKee claimed Patricio's Bellator featherweight championship, which Patricio won in April. The main card opener featured a brutal back-and-forth contest between Rizin's Koji Takeda and Gadzi Rabadanov, who received training from Nurmagomedov's father, Abdul Manap. Rabadanov prevailed in a unanimous decision. Nurmagomedov arrived in the ring at 7:53 to congratulate Rabadanov and to offer support to Takeda. The audience blew Nurmagomedov away. After, Archuleta won through a split decision victory to give Bellator a 2-0 advantage in the match. Kyoji Horiguchi, a former Rizin and Bellator champion, stretched Bellator's lead to 3-0 with a unanimous decision victory against Hiromasa Oigikubo at 9:05 p.m. Patricio Pitbull emerged in his gladiator-inspired attire 12 minutes later, fitting the long-standing image of Bellator that the gladiator represents. At 9:35, Patricio entered a tough battle against Rizin featherweight champion Kleber Koike Erbst as McKee prepared to make his appearance behind the entrance platform while dressed in full. Patricio won unanimously at 9:47 p.m., improving to 3-0 in 2022 and cementing his position as Bellator's most successful fighter ever. With his victory, Team Bellator improved to 4-0 on the night. McKee eventually entered the ring at 10 o'clock for the main event battle against the lightweight champion Rizin Roberto Satoshi de Souza. McKee emerged from the samurai outfit, a horned helmet hiding his face. McKee practically had to win after all that, and he did. De Souza, a grappling ace, was up for it, threatening submissions multiple times. On the other hand, McKee caused more damage on the feet, withstood ground threats, and nearly spiked De Souza's head with a front roll in the 3rd round with De Souza on his back. Bellator won the friendly match and received a massive trophy as confetti fell from the ceiling at 10:41. McKee, 27, claimed in the changing area that getting a genuine handcrafted samurai attire required significant web study before becoming successful. The clothing was discovered at Kato's store in Tokyo's Chiyoda district. McKee was at the news conference podium, addressing the assembled Japanese journalists when the clock struck midnight and the new year began. A day that had started 12 hours ago had ended, as had the year 2022. But what better way to end a remarkable, massive crossover occasion and write yet another enduring page in Japan's New Year's Eve combat sports tradition? So that's it, guys. Khabib Nurmagomedov, a UFC legend, continues to demonstrate that he is a man of the highest caliber. Also, would we see more crossover events between more promotions in 2023? Let's hear your comments in the section below. Please remember to subscribe. Thank you for watching.